Alright, let's dive into this. Meghan Markle is back in the news, and this time it's about jam. Yes, jam. When your royal life crumbles, the next logical step is to become a jam entrepreneur, right? But hold on, it gets wild. On her podcast, Confessions of a Female Founder, Meghan had a chat with Tina Knowles, Beyoncé's mom, who has actually built an empire. While Tina was talking real business, Meghan was rambling about how hard it is to start a jam business because of the FDA. Seriously? The FDA, the organization that ensures we're not eating moldy marmalade, is now the enemy? She went off on a tangent about how jam is subject to all these regulations, saying, even JM, very not the same, but very similar restrictions and nuance as FDA. What does that even mean? Is she saying the FDA is like some magical creature? Or is she just confused? Either way, she sounded overwhelmed, claiming that her jam is too pure for the harsh realities of food safety regulations. But here's the kicker, she basically admitted her products haven't gone through the proper FDA channels. We're talking about basic stuff like where the jam is made and how it's produced. Is it crafted in her fancy Montecito kitchen or whipped up by elves in a secret lair? The truth is, she's missing crucial info on her labels, like the country of origin. Who knows if it's made in the USA or imported from a magical land? The silence is deafening because she's not exactly shouting made in the USA from the rooftops. Rumor has it, she might have gotten a little nudge from the FDA, which could explain why her jam hasn't hit the shelves again. Spoiler alert, just because you're a duchess doesn't mean you can bypass food safety laws. The FDA isn't trying to crush her dreams, they're just doing their job to prevent the sale of potentially dangerous products. In Meghan's world, though, the FDA is just another villain in her story, joining the British media, the royal family, and probably even the mailman. She perceives them as a racist, sexist agency hellbent on sabotaging her strawberry jam revolution. And here's the reality check, she thinks she's doing something groundbreaking. Newsflash, Meghan. White labeling food products and slapping your name on them isn't revolutionary. It's basic business 101. Real entrepreneurs know the rules. They understand you can't just throw your emotions into a jar and call it gourmet. So here we are, watching Meghan throw a fit because the real world expects her to act like an adult. The FDA is simply doing its job, keeping people safe from potentially hazardous food. Meanwhile, Meghan is peddling the same tired narrative with a sugary twist, zero substance, and absolutely no COO label. Isn't it fascinating how someone who was once a duchess is now throwing tantrums over jam? It's almost comical. She's out here acting like she's reinventing the wheel when she's really just trying to sell the same old story with a sprinkle of fairy dust. At this point, it's clear that Meghan is more focused on the drama than the actual business. Instead of rolling up her sleeves and figuring out how to comply with regulations, she's crying foul and blaming the system. How about taking a step back and facing the facts? The FDA isn't the enemy, they're the watchdogs of consumer safety. But hey, let's not forget that this whole saga is just another chapter in the never-ending saga of Meghan Markle. From royal life to podcast host, and now jam entrepreneur, she's certainly keeping us entertained. Who knew jam could be so controversial? In conclusion, Meghan needs to get real about the business world. It's not just about the glitz and glam, it's about responsibility and compliance. The FDA is there for a reason, and rather than viewing them as an obstacle, she should see them as a necessary part of the process. If she really wants to be a successful entrepreneur, it's time to roll up her sleeves and get to work. Because right now, all we see is a former duchess throwing a tantrum over some jam. And honestly, it's getting old. So, Meghan, how about you step up, follow the rules, and show us what you've got? Or are you just going to keep blaming everyone else for your jam struggles? The choice is yours.